Okay, talking about forgiveness, this is a third one, which is one of the most difficult cases I've seen in most people I'm counseling. Their parents, for example, which most have their difficult past caging them. What can you say about it? Oh my goodness, Liza, this was in 2022. I dealt with it. 2023. 2023 for me was very significant. Um, and number one, the reason why things are significant is because of the patterns in my life. Every 9 years, 7 to 9 years in my life, there is a big move. And it's almost like it's a season for me to grow quickly and move to the next level. And I had been living, I didn't know, but I don't take offense from people. That's what I think, right? I When people offend me, I don't speak out angrily at them. I don't, call them names, blah, blah, blah. I just keep quiet and I keep it and I try and be very polite. And what I didn't know is that I harbored unforgiveness, offense, really. So as the Lord was dealing with that, exposing it, I was going through severe rejection in a church group, small group, and it was very unfair and unjust. It was an unjust situation. And I was asking the Lord why. I was really upset. I said, Lord, these are your people. Why would they do, this to another believer? Why? And I felt that the Lord was not on my side. Like I felt like, Lord, if I try and defend myself, I know I'm going to be, the enemy will attack me. I'll have insomnia. I always have to give in. Why is it only me? So in that season, however, as I was going through this intensity of betrayal, it was a betrayal that my spiritual mom told me, you're in a test, so I want you to forgive. I want you to release. This is a test and it's the most severe. And I don't miss this opportunity to grow. And it just happened that there was a time that she was teaching on forgiveness, and she had invited this couple. The lady is from Rwanda, and the man is British, and they taught on forgiveness. I don't have the name of the book, but they taught on forgiveness because the woman went through the genocide. Her whole family was killed during the genocide in 1990, and she forgave them. She has a powerful testimony. So I went for about 2 weeks of their class, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I reached out to them for counseling in 2023, and they walked with me for 6 months and they taught me how to forgive. And one of the things that I learned that was very different is that I needed to talk to God about what was going on. So this is how normally if somebody did something wrong to me, I would just say, I release them, I forgive them. I wouldn't say, Lord, so and so hurt my feelings. Lord, I feel like this, like this. I feel sad. I didn't talk to the Lord. I would just kind of hide it under the rug. So what they did is they took me through all the major incidents in my life. The primary one, of course, at that season was a betrayal, but the major one was my stepfather and my biological father. I had to forgive them. I truly had to release them. And then I had to release a couple more people who I felt had big impact in my life. And that, I don't know, the Lord just had grace. That's why I say it was a season for me to grow. And it was when they delivered the word, I received it by faith and I was able to just release them. And because they're like a mature couple, I felt like I was with parents and they loved on me. It was all done by Zoom. And I even hosted them for what is it called, for other people to do the Zoom forgiveness. So I was able to do that for them, and this year. But I think learning how to forgive, the process of forgiveness, to me, it was a process. It was a process of acknowledging, like really acknowledging and not rushing through it, really looking at, where did my life go wrong? Really admitting and saying, okay, I have to come to terms with my stepfather or my father who left me uncovered, created a whole lot of mess, you know, and I never had faced that there was an impact, and I allowed that emotion to surface, and then I surrendered it to the Lord. And I said, Lord, not I didn't it didn't surface and then I brooded over it. I surrendered it and I said, Lord, I give you this because you're my father. So I had to give every emotion that came from um or experience, especially the experience, so the experience of being uncovered, the experience of not having a defender, not having a provider, all those things that I just listed. Some of it, it's imaginary, it's my perception. Some of it is actual, it's a reality that is true, factual. But whatever it is, it was a reality I lived. And that process of forgiveness, it was like step one, this, step two, this. They took me through that and I was able to forgive. And when I forgave, it lifted. The burden of performance lifted. I no longer needed to perform. I no longer needed to make excuses about myself. I no longer was ashamed of myself. I no longer felt I needed to explain myself. And I was okay with myself. And I really embraced myself. I embraced that these were my experiences. In fact, I was very very happy that I had those experiences because I could share out of true experiences. Um, and I also, in all of this, I was sharing with my husband and with my children. I shared with my children because it impacted them, as they were growing. They grew up with a mother that had all these things going on in them. And I wanted them to be part of my healing so that they could also be healed. So that's the long and short of that, and that forgiveness now allowed me to get another layer of inner healing. So inner healing is in layers, because your soul is always locked in different traumatic situations. And so I get healed in that's how I was healed more and more and more. And last year when I went for the deliverance now allowed me to come out completely, because I felt when I talked to the deliverance minister, I was like, I feel so different. And he said, yeah, you'll feel like that for the next few months. You'll feel like you're coming out of something. And I literally felt I was a child and I grew up. I felt like prior to going there, I was a child. I was still locked up as a whatever age. And then as when he brought me out of it, I now felt an adult. I felt bolder. I felt like I had authority. I felt all these things that were tucked away for, 30 years even. I felt that I was coming out of it. So that's it. Thank you.